That's just for the recording. We have half an hour. That's a bit of a surprise because apparently we screwed up in the schedule. So we're gonna do it in half an hour. Don't worry, it's gonna be all right. Basically, what I'm gonna tell you about is how to optimize Chamilo LMS for MOOCs. Okay, that's a very trending topic at the moment. The MOOCs, so that the MOOCs basically. Well, I can skip that with you. I know you're all used to that slide. Basically, MOOCs are massively open online courses. This means that basically you expect more than 1,000 users to be connected at the same time, most likely. And having a lot of users connected at the same time creates a series of problems, issues, and one of these is the use of resources. So you can't very easily try to know exactly how much memory it will use when you will reach those high peaks of users. And the fact that it's open usually means also, not always, but means that it's free, and that by being free you can actually start the first day with 10,000 users and have 30,000 the next day. Okay, so you can't really plan for that. So I'm not going to focus on the automatic resizing of infrastructure and that kind of stuff that the cloud provides. I'm going to go to more ground-based stuff that actually make it possible to grow with the infrastructure if once you have all this set up, and it makes it much easier. So the required attributes for a MOOC are first that it should be easy to use, because if it's not easy to use, you're going to have a lot of support requests. And what you want to do is avoid at any cost any human contact, because human contacts are not scalable. Okay, so you want to avoid anyone requiring help, because you won't be able to provide it if you have 30,000 people connected to your course. You want also to avoid having many pages to go through before you reach the actual content. Because if you have to go through a series of pages, every page will be multiplied, the load of the page will be multiplied by the number of users that will enter your course. So if you have just one page to get the user to its destination, then you have 30,000 times the load. But if you have 3 pages, you have 90,000 times the load. Okay, so you want to avoid that as well. You want to make sure that the users can do stuff in an automated way. They need to be able to auto-evaluate themselves and see if they're doing right inside the course. Okay, so they need to be able to do that by themselves. And because you want, usually, you want users to be engaged into the course, you need to make something so that users feel that they're human and that there are other humans around, and that they have some kind of responsibility to continue inside the course. And this is usually a human trick that is used, that you just put the users in a forum with other users and assign them tasks that require the other people to respond in a way, which is usually called peer assessment, right? I mean, you ask for somebody else to go and review the participation of another person. And it's usually very, I mean, it doesn't depend much on the platform, this last part, because you can usually just use a forum and say, you know, just go in the forum, and if you answered something, that's all right. Okay, so you don't have to just put yes, no, thanks, or something like that, but you have to go in the forum and find the right place to put a comment and give your opinion. Obviously, apart from the basic attributes, you should always think about what you can do to make it better, make it faster, so make it optimized in a way that the application itself will allow you to connect to the course without having to wait at any point in time. And that it shouldn't depend on the number of users. So there are a lot of techniques in computation that you can use to share memory space and that kind of stuff, so that even if you have thousands of users, they still use the same amount of memory. You have to make sure that it's secure, because if you're going to have a lot of people, you're going to have hackers in there, well, crackers, and some of them will want to try and see how they can use the accounts of others to their advantage and that kind of stuff. So putting the HTTPS or an SSL certificate, usually there's been a lot of talk about the fact that it uses more resources. No? And Google recently, well, recently, it's already 1 or 2 years ago, published the results of passing everything in Gmail to HTTPS. And they say that in total, they had an increase in load of 13%. That's really reasonable in balance with the security improvements that you get from using an SSL certificate. Now, the SSL certificates used to be quite expensive. You can now get an SSL certificate for as little as 15 euros or $15 in several very large hosting companies. Usually you have to make sure that your certificate is recognized by the more generic browsers. So this is a very, very important thing. So if you buy a certificate at $15 a year or something like that, it might be that, for example, it's not accepted in Firefox. Okay, and so if it's not accepted in Firefox, what you will have is a big, big warning saying this site is not secure, which is much worse than having no certificate at all. Okay, well, in terms of user interface, at least user experience. So there are certificates. There's one called Rapid SSL. I have no actions in the company, but it's $50 a year, and it's actually accepted by most browsers. As far as we've tested, we have had no rejection of the certificate so far. And this Rapid SSL. And so this one, basically, it's the $50 certificate is a one single domain certificate, and you can also have a wildcard certificate, a multi-domain. So you can, for example, say everything.chamilo.org for $200 a year. So that's everything.chamilo.org. So that's really practical when you have, like we did, we bought one of these for Chamilo. And then we can use it for support.chamilo.org stable, the testing sites, the website, the members application, that kind of stuff. And it's only $200, no, $200, sorry, for the whole thing. And you should be able to measure the load on your server. So that there are a few things that you need to set up there to make sure that you can measure it as it grows and take the actions that you need to take in time before it gets too heavy. So how massive does a course need to be considered a MOOC? Actually, there's no real measure right now. So basically, it's generally accepted that starting from 1,000 users in simultaneously connected, you're inside a MOOC. But simultaneously connected doesn't mean registered. And it's really important to understand that, for example, the free campus that we had 260,000 users. But in real facts, we have a peak of 700 simultaneous users. Okay? And all of these are in different courses. So it's not like you have one course. You know, it's a massively open online course, singular. Okay, so if you have several courses and you get them together, it's technically a MOOC, but it's not philosophically a MOOC. You know, it's not like everybody is in the same course and following it at the same time. So that doesn't qualify. But with the growth of our community, we're bound to have that kind of issue soon with Chamilo. So, for example, these are real cases, and we'll try to see which ones of these apply for a MOOC. So for example, we have a university in Peru. They have 3,500 simultaneous users. And usually these ones are split between 3 to 4 courses. Okay, so if we're lucky there, we have a MOOC situation. Okay, in any case, 3,500 users simultaneously connected is a big number, and it's on the same server, so it really philosophically it's maybe not a MOOC, but technically it is. We have another portal with 612,000 users, but you know they're not connected at the same time. It's a very specific schedule that you know they're like for 1 hour per day, each of them. So it's really we have like 18 hours in total for the whole schedule. So we will have to split that between 18 and then remove all the ones that are not in the same course, and there are a lot of courses, so it doesn't really apply in this case. We have the Academy of Aix-Marseille in France, and they have 230 schools, but these are all in on different servers. We don't know exactly how many peak number of users we have on each of these servers, so it doesn't apply at all. And we have the Ministry of Education in Peru. It's not philosophically a MOOC because it's not a course, it's an exam. But we have 9,500 users going to be using this course in a few days. So you do this exam in a few days. So this applies for MOOC technically as well. Okay, it's a different organization, but in terms of hardware and configuration, it's pretty much the same. So the issues to get back on this, ease of use, automated processes, and high efficiency. Okay, we need to ensure those 3 points to be able to have a good time having the MOOC. So Chamiluda LMS excels in fewer steps to get to content. If you register on the platform, you have links that allow you to directly, you give a link to the user, they get to the registration form, and once they finish the registration form, boom, they're in the course, inside the learning path or inside an exam. This is, I'll show you later on how to set up that, if we have time. So you can directly redirect them to the course. So once they log in, they get to the course. That means one step to get directly to the item itself. Hide unused tools. There are several features in Chamiluda to hide all the things that you don't need, so you don't have to show the state of each of these tools. You have course introductions. That's really important to avoid the complexity and require support from you. Okay, so you can put an introduction to the course explaining how it goes. You can put an introduction in each of the tools to say, you're in this tool and it's a little bit different from the other tool. You should use it this way. Everything is meant to reduce the amount of support that is required from you. And you have guided learning paths, so you can set up a learning path for a specific path that your students should follow inside the course, where you can join all kinds of resources there. In terms of automated processes, you can define, again, learning paths that drive students in an established path, so you don't have to worry about how much load they will generate. You just know where they're going to be because you don't give them access to other things, and you just direct their learning. You have the possibility to prepare exams. You should always avoid free answers if you don't want to require human activity there, because obviously you will have to go there and see what they answered. And the really important thing about the exams or the exercises in a MOOC is that you can provide automated feedback. So you can say, when preparing the question, you can say, if he answers incorrectly, then just give him that hint, that tip that will allow him to know how to do it better next time, and they can retake the evaluation. You can do surveys, and that's automatically resumed. You have the feedback of the survey all in one page, so you can know how your students are feeling inside the massive course that you're organizing. You have gradebooks, so you can build learning objectives, sorry. I was influenced by the LCMS there. You can build learning objectives, so you can say, you know, you have to finish the learning path and handle this kind of object to inside your course to be able to get to the score required to finish the course, and that generates an automatic certificate that you can get as a student that shows your name and that kind of stuff, and it's all automated, so you don't have to do any manual process. You have programmed announcements, you can prepare links of interest, you have a course agenda you can set up. You have other advantages of Chamilo that here most of you already know. I'm going to go to a little bit faster to go to the interface. So, in terms of efficiency and boost that you can have, you have a very interesting characteristic of Chamilo, that is it uses 14 megabytes of RAM per page load. That's when it's not boosted by anything. So that's the default configuration. And if you compare it to Moodle, I didn't compare it to LCMS yet, but if you compare it to Moodle, Moodle loads around 40 megas. So you have like 3 times less resources usage for your course in any kind of circumstance. And if you improve it, if you boost it, then you're going to lower that 14 megas usage per page. You can reduce, these are techniques, okay? These are not directly into the course itself. So I understand that Patrick did a presentation yesterday explaining some of the things that you can do. I hope I'm not doing exactly the same things, but basically outside of Chamilo, you can do a lot of stuff to improve the situation, the speed of the response and that kind of stuff. So the first thing is that you have to reduce media size. That's very basic and that's very easy to explain. Well, it's not that easy, but it's relatively easy to explain to the teachers that will build the course, that they can have to compress JPEG, but JPEG are for pictures, right? And PNGs are for diagrams and stuff that were made from a computer. Okay, the PNGs and JPEG can have pretty much the same kind of size, but PNGs and JPEG are optimized in a different way. So JPEG, you compress it and you say, you know, remove a little bit of the quality of the picture, and then you can compress it to 30%, and it's still, you know, it's still right. I mean, you can still see what it represents, and you can still use it in the context of a course. A PNG is much it's very different in the way it's optimized, because you don't compress the PNG, it's already compressed. What you do is reduce the amount of colors that you will